My revision process is my writing process. Again, when I write, it tends to be fairly lean. And so my first draft is always very short, and then I go back and I read through multiple times, and each time I'm kind of looking for something different. On my first read through, I'm looking for the big picture stuff. I'm looking for, big holes in the plot. My character has gone from point A to point B. Did all the things happen in the middle that needed to happen to make sure that point B makes sense at the end of the story? So I'm looking for that big picture stuff, and then I kind of go through another time and I look at each character individually as the entire document, and I want to make sure that I'm giving all the characters their due. With fiction, a lot of times you've got your main characters and you really focus on them, and then your secondary characters are just kind of there to move your story along and to make sure that things are happening to your main character. And then as a result, those secondary characters are flat, and they feel more like props in the story rather than people. And so I go back through and I take a really close look at all of my characters, certainly the most important ones, but also the secondary characters, and make sure that they've each got, even if they're in only one scene, I want to make sure that they each have some level of human element to them, some little smidgen of backstory that makes them more than just a prop, at the convenience store selling the soda, but maybe it's also, maybe that person, I don't know, also has their textbook out and they're moonlighting, or, something. Maybe they're nervous when somebody comes in because they've been robbed before, and they might try to make a joke when you go to buy your soda. Something that makes them human, so that they're not just there as a prop, as an element for your story, but the sense that everybody in your novel has a back history and a story of their own to tell, even if it's not in this book. So that's another phase. And then I kind of go back one more time, and I'm looking for, things like symbolism and theme. And with my novel, All Different Kinds of Free, it kind of came to me once I finished my first draft. That title came to me. It's actually something that my main character says very early in the book, and I didn't realize it until I'd finished the book, that that's what the whole book was about. That, bondage, there's all different kinds of bondage, and there's all different kinds of free. And, even if you're free, technically, somebody in your life might be holding you back, or something inside of you might be holding you back. And even if you're in chains, literally in chains, your spirit and your soul can still be free, and you can still have that sense. And so I wanted to make sure that that was obvious throughout the book, but you also want to make sure it's not overly, you're not beating them over the head with it every page. So you kind of got to go through and fine tune and make sure that your theme and your big ideas in the book are woven in, so that they hit the person by the end, but that they're not going, okay, we get it already, she's not free, that sort of thing. So it's really very multiple levels, and then even from there, my revisions, because of my editing background, then I get pretty nitty-gritty with my style manual, and I really kind of rip it apart from that perspective.